Hello there! Today we actually have the official patch note for the upcoming new Iron Blood event. So I'm gonna go over everything here. Most of it is kind of a recap of everything we already know, but still it's kind of nice to see. So first and foremost, we obviously have the event construction. So the pool is gonna be comprised of Fritz Romay, Duisburg, and Z11 or Z11 depending on where you are. And on top of that, obviously, Admiral Hyper Meta. She's the only one that is not going to be a rate up. She will be available in other means. Moving on, we have the Substellar Crepuscle, which is going to be the event itself. So I'm very excited by this one because the story has been going places that I think are very, very interesting. If you have done the daily missions, you should know what I'm talking about with Madame M and all that stuff. So very, very cool. Now, additionally, let me be a little bit smaller. Never mind, I'm too big, I can't change myself. It is what it is. We also have new skins. So those are all bunny, bunoi, as they say, bunoi skins. So those are all bunny costume skins. Very, very cool. Obviously, there is one for every single characters that are going to be on banner, as well as some other very cool characters like Janus, Formidable, and stuff like that. Moving on, we are getting a special point rewards for UR exchange. You heard it right, this event is going to be a double UR. One of them, Fritz Romay, is going to be available through pooling or constructing, and the other one, Z52 or Z52, is going to be available for exchange. Those exchange points are not the same as the one that you use, that you accumulate just through playing the missions, like the one that can go up to like 70,000 points. So they're separated, but you essentially have to farm. I believe if it's similar to past events, you're gonna need 300 for your first copy, and I think you can get a second copy with 500 points. So a little bit of farming is gonna be necessary there. Now finally, we are getting a Game Night Lucky Bag A. This is a lucky bag. It has a lot of resources like a random skin from one of the available up here. It is also going to be getting us some gems, some coins, some oil, I believe. So yeah, this is pretty high value in general. So I would recommend that. Excuse me, I'm just going to go. There we go. So in general, it's pretty high value. This is kind of nice if you want to get one, if you want to put a little bit of money into the game and you don't mind getting one of those skins randomly. Moving on, we are getting the PT rewards. So those are the point rewards that you get. This is the usual point stacking stuff. So you will have access to a point exchange shop in which you can get some copy for Admiral Hyper Meta. That's the reason why she's not a rate up on the banner. So you are going to be able to get her there. On top of that, obviously she's going to be available on like D3. So if you can farm that map, there are a chance that you can like drop a Admiral Hyper Meta, so that's pretty cool. We are also getting some Z9 copies through accumulating points during the event, and that is the only way to get her. She's a cute little doggo, do get her. She needs to be protected. Moving on, we're getting a lot of bunny skins reruns as well, as you can see over here, which is some cool stuff. If you like those characters and you like bunny skins, don't forget to go for those ones. So very, very cool. On top of that, we are getting a Resplendent Night Lucky Bag 1 rerun, which means this is the same as the Lucky Bag we have here, except it's going to be a random skin from this pool of characters. What has me a little bit surprised here is that I'm not seeing the Shinano bunny skin. So I don't know if it's coming out later. It might be coming out later, but she's supposed to be getting one, and I don't see her here either, so she's not a rerun. So yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe she's gonna be here later because she's supposed to be a live 2D as well. Anywho, moving on, we're also getting a new, furniture set, which is the Wilderness Safe House. If you want to look like a bum, you can. And finally, amongst other things, we're getting a very nice, I don't know why I said finally, it's not finally. We're getting a Blessing and New Year Invitation 2025, which is going to be allowing you to select one SSR ship that you want among a 7-ship selection. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit afterward. Manju Curling Rerun, that's a minigame, New Battle UI pack. It's a very, very cute Christmas themed battle pack with a lot of like snowflakes and stuff. I'm actually considering buying this one because it's very, very cool. We also are getting a rerun for the Night Princess Festive Feast, which will allow you to get a free skin. Those are daily missions over 7 days. Pure Winter Gift Pack. As per usual, we are getting some Boolean, XP mats, cognitive chips, and potentially arrays, some skill books and whatnot, and a bunch of gems. So this is very cool if you want to buy that. Finally, we're getting a lot of permanent... Finally, when it comes to permanent skins, we are getting a lot of additions here. Those are all summer-themed events, so gonna be added there. So if you want to grab them, you missed them perhaps on the first run or the rerun, you can get them now. Yatta! We are also getting a new secret for Bremertown. The secret is a ASMR that you can unlock with keys. You can get some keys per month with the dailies, or the daily login, or by buying them. So this is stuff that you can enjoy. And finally, for real this time, we are getting a promise crate. This gets you 2 oath rings as a pack. This is very cool. So the thing that I think is most important here, or like the thing that you might want more information about, is going to be which SSR you want to pick. So here it only shows 3 of them, which is Noshiro, Graf Zeppelin, as well as Belfast, but those are not the only picks available. Here are the official patch notes written down. I'm not going to go over everything because we basically know what this is all about. But here we have the Blessing and New Year's Invitation 2025. During the event, make a lucky prayer to get a New Year's Blessing. Obtain all 7 to receive the New Year's Invitation. That lets you invite one of the 7 super rare ship girls. Graf Zeppelin, Belfast, South Dakota, Formidable, Noshiro, Bismarck, Richelieu to accompany you into the new year. So, who is gonna be important or interesting here? The thing that you need to know for this selection is that first and foremost, you can immediately discount 3 of them, not count 3 of them, because Belfast, Bismarck, and South Dakota, they are all exchangeable, either through honor or honor rotation, or through PvP points. So don't go for them, really you can just ignore them. So now the question is, who is going to be most important when it comes to Graf Zeppelin, Formidable, Noshiro, and Richelieu? So first of all, I'm just going to open this up so you can see how they look like. So Graf Zeppelin is actually a Ironblood aircraft carrier, and this might be very useful considering that we are getting a lot of Ironblood. So Fritz Romay is actually going to be a aircraft carrier as well. She's kind of a versatile mix because she also has like a barrage thingy, but she is counted as a craft. So the question is, if you really want, if you don't have a main fleet, a CV main fleet, for example, for your team, and you want to build one for Fritz Romay, this might be a pretty good option because you're going to have, obviously, an aircraft carrier in Graf Zeppelin. Now, is Graf Zeppelin any good? The answer is yes. She's pretty versatile. She actually has a pretty strong barrage essentially. But it's pretty strong when you get the augment. She has a special augment that will make her Ironblood Hawk barrage ability even stronger essentially, and will make the airstrike way better, right? So you need that augment for her. So if you're down to get her an augment, she's gonna be a pretty good pick. She also buffs all Ironblood ships in the fleet, makes them tankier. So she's overall pretty strong. On top of that, she also has quite a lot of flexibility for a stud slot because she can either equip dive bombers or torpedo bombers. So she's potentially a good pick, especially if you're looking to build a decent main fleet along with Fritz Romay. Now, moving on to the potential second pick, Formidable. So Formidable is one of the lovely maid. She's also an aircraft carrier, and essentially she's a pretty strong torpedo bomber. She's focusing on that. You can see here, slot 2 and 3 are torpedo bomber with some decent efficiency. It's not absolutely mind-blowing, but she is. And on top of that, she also has an incredibly useful freeze, essentially. So, she essentially... Wait, let me see. She has a freeze. There we go. When launching an airstrike, you have 80% chance to reduce the speed of all enemies to 0 for 1.5 seconds. Okay? So that is incredibly powerful, especially it's gonna be good against bosses. Now the thing with bosses here is that 1.5 seconds is quite short, and so you need to make sure that you time it accordingly. You need to make sure that you time your team's volleys, barrage, and whatnot properly, so you can take maximum. You can use these to its maximum effect. So you might need to tune your ship properly with this. That's an extra layer of, you know, complications. So that might not be something that you want to dive into, but if so, it can get some great damage. Now, on top of that, she has some additional buffs if you equip a Fairy Albacore plane, which is this right there. It's elite planes that have some good uses. Now, if you have this equipped, she gains additional efficiency, which is pretty significant. And on top of that, she, when she launches her airstrike, she will also launch additional Fairy Albacore planes that will have the opportunity to inflict flooding for 9 seconds on enemies, which is pretty nice. Now, the thing is that this plane itself is kind of a weaker plane, but it will still be very useful for mobbing specifically. So she can have that opportunity to just slap some Fairy Albacore on her, use her for mob fleet, and you can get some good result out of her. Now, moving on, we have Noshiro. And Noshiro is a IGN light cruiser. And essentially, she's basically strong anywhere. Like, she can be good in any fleet. She has very strong survivability because she has a lot of evasion. She decreased torpedo damage that the entire Vanguard takes. So she has 15% evasion, 20% damage reduction against torpedo damage. She also buffs CVs and CVL by 20%. You know, she has additional buff with like torpedo increased damage for your Vanguard by 20%. She increased crit rates. Like, she's bananas, and she has a strong all-out assault. So overall, fantastic support skill, and strong damage, very powerful survivability. Now, the only problem is that while she's gonna be best used as a main tank, she might suffer a little bit because, as you can see, her HP pool is not that bananas. It, like, at level 125, she's gonna have 3300 HP, which means that against certain bosses, if they have strong accuracy, her evasion is not gonna be enough, and she might be taken down. So there are some situations in late game where she might suffer a little bit. But outside of that, incredibly powerful, you won't regret her. Now, finally, Richelieu. Richelieu is a French ship, and she's a very powerful buffer. So she is a flagship. So you have to keep this in mind. If you already have a flagship in mind and you don't want another one, maybe you don't go for her. Now, that said, she's a very strong flagship. She has team-wide buff for French units because she buffs both Iris Libre as well as Vichy Dominion. She buffs firepower, torpedo accuracy, reload by 15%, absolutely bananas. All Iris Libre ships deal more damage, all Vichy Dominion ships receive less damage. So she buffs overall incredible stat buff, damage mitigation, very, very powerful. Now, the thing is that she also buffs herself, which means that while she can be very strong in, you know, French fleets, she can also be sorted by herself, right? So that's very nice. We like that. On top of that, her barrage inflicts debuff, as well as like a dot, a strong special burn dot, which debuff enemies firepower, torpedo, and evasion stat by 5%, which is incredible, and the burn lasts 30 seconds. So that's a long ass burn with a long ass debuff on top of it. So yeah, on top of that, the first manually aimed salvo of each battle is guaranteed to critical hit, so that is something that's nice. And she gains some extra damage dealt if she has a HE main gun equipped. So, with all of this considered and the preload that she's essentially getting here, she is getting a lot of value, especially if you're fighting elite enemies during the events. So she's very powerful. So overall, here you have multiple options. You either get a pretty strong aircraft carrier for the Iron Blood that strengthen their survivability, or you're getting a formidable, which is going to be a Royal Navy ship that is... She's a decent aircraft carrier that will allow other ships in her main fleet to have damage decrease. And she has a nice freeze on enemies. Noshiro is overall a pretty strong main tank, or she can be played as main tank. She has good damage, good support skill, great survivability. And finally, Richelieu is going to be a very strong French buffer with a very nice burn debuff on enemies. So those are your options. I don't necessarily think that one is strictly better than the others. Personally speaking, I might go for either... It's a hard pick. I think I'm going to skip Formidable personally. And then I'm stuck between Graf Zeppelin, Noshiro, and Richelieu. And I'm not too sure. Because I don't know how many good options I have when it comes to... main fleet. Like if I want to do a CV main fleet for Iron Blood. I don't know how many options I have, to be honest. So yeah, I'm, let me think, because I don't have August von Parzival, I don't have her yet, and, that's pretty much it, huh? I think that's pretty much it, so... Yeah, I might not be able to use Fritz Romay with a full Iron Blood main fleet, full of CVs, but I could just put her with some BBs or with other faction, and that'll be fine, right? But yeah, so like, let's say if I had August von Parzival, maybe I would grab Graf Zeppelin right away, because that way I could use all three together with Fritz Romay. But yeah, August von Parzival, she's a PR ship, so I could get her eventually, but am I in that much of a hurry? Maybe not. Now, Noshiro is just gonna be great overall. I also have her sister as well, and I think she's super cute. Also, if you guys don't know, Noshiro is eventually gonna be added to the 3D dormitory. She's the next ship girl being added, so if you also want to have her in your fleet, that's a great option. If you simp her, she's super cute, love the outfit, love the katana, the Oni horns are great, so good time. And Richelieu, if you really want to buff your French fleet, that's a great option. So I would say Richelieu, French fleet, Noshiro, cuteness overload, very strong light cruiser, Graf Zeppelin if you want to build that CV main fleet for Iron Blood, great choice as well. So there you go, those are my recommendation. Formidable if you just like the time freeze, but I'm probably gonna skip her because I'm more interested in the potential that the other three give. So I'll be thinking about all of that. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful in some way. Obviously, as every single maintenance, we are getting some additional maintenance compensation. We're getting some oil and coins, so that's pretty cool. Don't forget to give some snacks to your ship girls before the maintenance begins. It's gonna last about 8 hours. And yeah, anywho, take care of yourself, enjoy the game, and see you next time. Cheers!